It's a shot that no one will ever forget. On Sunday, May 12th, Kawhi Leonard hit arguably the biggest shot in Toronto Raptors history, the only Game 7 buzzer beater ever in the NBA. So the question is, where were you for the shot?
It's now time for your favorite in-depth basketball show with the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg, and Raindrops Goulet!
Welcome to episode 55 of Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet, joined by the one and only Nard Dogg, David Bernardi. And the NBA Conference Finals are getting started. It's going to be the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Golden State Warriors in the West, and the Toronto Raptors against the Milwaukee Bucks in the East. So on that note, let's talk about the second round, starting off with the Raptors versus 76ers. Nard Dogg, how you doing? How you feeling? It's been an exciting past few days in Toronto.
I'm very tired. After that game winner, the adrenaline in me, I couldn't sleep. I think I went to bed at like 2, 3 a.m. Around that time. I just watched the shot over and over. I wanted to see like everyone's reaction. It was a great thing.
Oh, it was absolutely amazing. And I said it's been an exciting time in Toronto, but it's been an exciting time in Canada and for basketball fans around the world. Did you see some of the footage of the different game calls in different languages across different nations calling that shot by Kawhi Leonard on Sunday?
Oh yeah, I saw the Korea one. That one was awesome.
Oh, it was incredible. Just to hear that excitement in those different languages was absolutely unbelievable. And those last 2-3 minutes, that whole game, but specifically those last few minutes in Game 7 were so intense. There was so much tension. I had to actually leave the room a few times because I was getting so frustrated with the Raptors, getting frustrated with the 76ers, frustrated with the refs, and then getting excited. It was just a roller coaster of emotions. And then, it all came down to 4 seconds left on the clock, the Raptors inbounding the ball, and it was just an unreal throwback to 18 years ago. Raptors 76ers in the second round, and Vince Carter taking the game-winning shot, and it ending on a not-so-happy note.
Oh yeah, on that. So I think it was a couple days before playoffs started. Then I was going through, if the Raptors beat Magic, they're going to play, maybe they'll play the Sixers. And in my head, I don't know, I was thinking, what if Kawhi in Game 7 hit the game winner to make everyone who relived that thing in 18 years ago, Vince Carter, what if he hits that shot, a game winner, Game 7 against the Sixers, 18 years later, and he did? I don't know, did I just predict something? Like, that was insane. Like, I can't believe that actually happened.
Yeah, and just the way it happened, too, because Kawhi shoots over Embiid, Simmons just a little bit in front of him, and the ball hits the rim, bounces, and you think, oh no, we're going to overtime. And it bounces again and again, and it's bouncing for what seems like an eternity. And finally, it drops into the hoop. And I literally jumped for joy. And I live on the top floor of an apartment building. And I was like, I don't care about the downstairs neighbors. I'm literally jumping up and down for joy. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, my reaction was, I'll try to quote it. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, holy bleep, holy bleep, holy bleep. And then, just a lot of clapping and just, I think some tears were there. But yeah, that was extraordinary. One of the biggest reactions I've ever had watching sports ever. I've seen my Blackhawks win the Cup 3 times. But yeah, this Kawhi shot, it's up there. It might be number 1, to be honest.
It was incredible, and there was definitely some tears for me too. And I was watching the game with my girlfriend, and it's great. I take a lot of pride in this, so almost it's kind of funny. But she didn't really watch a lot of basketball before we met, and then we started dating, and I got her into Raptors basketball, and she was just as into it as I was. So both of us were just freaking out, and we were thinking, oh my God, it actually went in. Kawhi Leonard, he hit the shot. He did it, and it was just a rewriting of history, because you go back to 18 years ago, and the parallels are just incredible, because 18 years ago in 2001, in the second round, it was the Raptors versus the 76ers, Vince Carter versus Allen Iverson, and the Raptors were the ones to force a Game 7. They forced that Game 7 with a Game 6 win in Toronto, and this past series, it was Philadelphia forcing a Game 7 on home court in Philadelphia. And then we go into Game 7, and Vince Carter misses the game-winning shot, and Kawhi just has a chance to rewrite history. It all came down to that last-second buzzer beater, game winner. It was just so poetic. It was crazy.
Yeah, you're saying how your girlfriend doesn't watch basketball? Well, that was the most viewed Raptors game in history. So all of Canada, even if they weren't basketball fans, they were all tuned in to watch that amazing finish.
And, I don't want to get ahead of things, but now the Raptors move on to face Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals. Funnily enough, in 2001, Philadelphia went on to face Milwaukee in the conference finals. So again, another connection there. But that shot, I like to think that no matter what happens, you see people have made memes of it, but that shot has become kind of a Canadian heritage moment. That is one of the top sports moments in Canada's sporting history. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's been a lot of videos on that shot. There's slow motion on a Kanye West song. It was really good. There's that Whitney Houston song. What else? The Titanic song. Just on and on.
Yeah, people have had a lot of fun with it. I've probably seen a replay of the shot, hundreds of times at this point. Like you were saying when we were talking earlier,
yeah,
you can't really go like an hour without seeing a replay of that shot somewhere.
Yeah, these twice an hour, maybe more. I see something on it, or I'm just like, whatever, I'll just watch the video myself again.
Yeah, exactly. And just relive that moment. But what an absolutely astounding shot. And another great thing about that is the reaction from all the players, everyone in Jurassic Park too, and everyone in the stands. And especially the reaction, the look on Kawhi Leonard's face. Kawhi, as we've talked about before, Kawhi is not one to show a lot of emotion, to really open up. He's a very private person, and he lets his game do the talking. But seeing the look on his face, the pure joy and that excitement after he hit that shot, was beautiful.
Yeah, he was saying the last time he showed that much emotion was in 2014 when he won the championship with the Spurs.
And that says something. And again, I don't want to get too ahead of things, but seeing his reaction and seeing the reaction of his teammates, and just seeing how Kawhi's been able to gel with the Raptors roster, I'm still cautiously optimistic, but I think there is a chance. There's certainly a bigger chance than there was at the beginning of the season. I think there is a legitimate chance of Kawhi Leonard re-signing with the Toronto Raptors.
And you say this. So after the game, they showed a clip of Masai Ujiri hugging it out with Kawhi Leonard's uncle, who Kawhi's very close with. So that gives great insight on the relationship they got there. Not only did he, Uncle Dennis is his name, did he hug Masai Ujiri, he hugged Larry Tannenbaum, who's a part owner of MLSE. So...
well, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and also Masai Ujiri, it was reported that people saw him crying after that shot went in.
Oh yeah, I had heard about that. It was certainly a moment, this very, very special moment, and an unforgettable moment for sure.
Yeah, definitely was.
Yeah, and that series against the 76ers, it was really kind of a slugfest, and it was a weird series. I think it was just a series of different runs. Like the Raptors would go on a huge run, the Sixers would go on a huge run, the Sixers would dominate one game, the Raptors would dominate one game. It was a really weird series. It was really tough to predict how it was going to all come to an end. as the series was going on. What do you think of the series as a whole overall?
Yeah, it was just back and forth, back and forth. You got to give the Sixers credit. And I was not a fan of Embiid in this series, but they showed him crying at the end. And yeah, he was a little cocky on the court, but if you're crying at the end of a series, that just showed how much you care about basketball, how much you want to win. And yeah, it was. Oh, don't even get me started on Jimmy Butler. That guy's a Raptors killer forever. Back in his Bulls days. Ben Simmons had a couple good games.
He started heating up near the end of the series, games 6 and 7.
Yeah. And you can't forget about Tobias Harris. That team is stacked, and I'd be careful of them next season if they keep the core together.
Oh, I agree. And the 76ers frustrated me a lot in this series. I have some choice words for Joel Embiid. I was a fan of Joel Embiid before watching the series, but actually watching him play consistently, I saw an immense lack of maturity on Joel Embiid's part. I think he is extremely immature. He lacks... Again, him crying after the game is understandable. It shows that he cares about the series, but there's a lack of maturity, a lack of professionalism. You go back to Game 3 when the 76ers, granted, they dominated the Raptors Game 3, but you go up 2-1, it's the third game of the series, and Embiid's doing the airplane spin, running around the arena. I'm like, dude, calm down, act like a professional. Don't showboat, because look what happened. They ended up losing the series. Of course, it was close, only a 2-point win for the Raptors off that Kawhi shot. But Joel Embiid did not impress me, and if he was battling an illness, I feel for him. I hope he takes time to recuperate, and he can get back on the court and play to his best self. But from what I saw, I wasn't impressed. I thought he had some very dirty plays, and the big takeaway for me when it comes to Joel Embiid was just a lack of maturity and professionalism.
But you know, a game 7 series like this, 7-game series like this, a 10 series, it could change a player like him. So maybe we don't see this Joel Embiid ever again. And he even said after the series that he's pretty much done with the process. He doesn't want to hear about that anymore.
It could be a good thing for him, and I'm hoping, because he's, of course, still a young player, still developing as a basketball player. I guess the hope is that he does mature over the next few years, and next season we see a more professional and more willing to learn, I guess, for lack of a better term, Joel Embiid come next season. So it could be a good thing that for his development going forward, that they lost this series the way that they did. And Jimmy Butler was fantastic. I was frustrated with Jimmy Butler, but then seeing what I saw from Joel Embiid as far as the professionalism goes, Jimmy Butler showboats here and there, but overall, aside from, let's not talk about Jimmy Butler when he was on the Timberwolves and causing drama and demanding trades. That was a little over the top, and I don't really have any respect for what he did there. Again, I don't know everything that went on behind the scenes,
but you got to understand, he was playing with a guy called Wiggins who pretty much doesn't care about the game of basketball. So it's hard on a guy who just wants to compete like Butler.
But it's good for Jimmy Butler that he was able to go to Philadelphia and play. Again, Embiid was a little frustrating, but he got to play with guys like Tobias Harris. I think Tobias Harris is the consummate professional. Tobias Harris goes in, makes his shots, he plays defense, he does his job. So Tobias Harris is a very strong player. And a guy like J.J. Redick goes in and he does what he's asked to do. He does what he needs to help his team win. And another guy like Mike Scott. Scott hit some big shots. You've called him the Raptor killer before. But it was interesting to watch the Philadelphia 76ers throughout the series. And my big takeaway for the Sixers as a whole team is that there's so much talent there. They have such a good group that if they do stick together and just play a little bit longer together as a whole, they're going to be scary because they're very talented. It is just a lack of experience and maturity when it comes to that team, and that'll come to them through the years.
And Brett Brown was awesome too. The adjustments he made throughout the series, and there's talk of him getting fired if they lose Game 7, which I thought was ridiculous. And they announced yesterday that he's going to return. I just thought that was a ridiculous report because he's a really, really good coach. He comes from San Antonio, Popovich.
Yeah, that would have been a ridiculous decision on the part of the 76ers organization if they fired Brown. Because I thought he did a very solid job coaching the 76ers throughout these playoffs.
Let's get back to the Raptors, and no one talks about Lowry, how great he played in Game 7. Yeah, he didn't score the points, but he did everything else.
Well, that's the thing, because the stats don't always tell the story. Lowry's defense was fantastic. He was aggressive when he needed to be. He really brought that fire, and he really showed that he is the bulldog of Bay Street. And he showed the fire and the passion that he needed to show to help them win Game 7. And the Raptors just grinded it out. Game 7 wasn't necessarily the prettiest of all the games. They did have to fight hard to get that victory, and it came down to that last second shot. And kudos to Philadelphia for coming back and tying the game up in the final seconds.
And credit to Mafuzi. Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka, yes, Serge Ibaka was awesome.
He has his best game of the series. He hit 3 3-pointers. He got the boards. He was just all over the place, and that's what they needed all series from the bench, and he delivered greatly.
Exactly, and the Raptors are going to have to do that going into the series of Milwaukee because the Bucks, they're a totally different beast than the 76ers. Sure, the 76ers may on paper overall have a more talented team, I guess you could say, as far as you look at the names on the roster. But the Bucks, you can't sleep on these guys. They finished in first place in the Eastern Conference during the regular season for a reason. They've got a very strong candidate for the season's MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo. They got a guy like Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe. So that is a very strong and powerful big three for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, but Kawhi didn't play in 2 of those Bucks wins this year against the Raptors, so we can't really judge head-to-head throughout the season because of that factor right there. So, I can't wait.
I think the series could go 6 or 7 games.
I prefer Game 6 in Toronto. They close it out. That would be ideal.
That would be absolutely wonderful. Keep our fingers crossed for that. I will say this, that I was a little frustrated with Philadelphia. I don't know. I just thought that they had some moments where they were playing dirty against the Raptors. I saw some dirty plays. And again, I may be a little biased because I'm a Raptors fan, but I don't think we're really going to see that with the Milwaukee Bucks. Overall, as a whole, I think there is more maturity within the Bucks roster. I think that we're not going to see, the series won't be as frustrating in a sense. I know it's too early to say, and it's kind of for lack of a better term, but I'm excited to see it. I think it's nice that it's the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference going at it, and I think it was always, for the Eastern Conference, it's always meant to be Kawhi versus Giannis in the conference finals.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Now moving on to the Western Conference, we saw the Rockets and Warriors go at it again, and not a huge shocker to everyone, but the Warriors took down the Rockets 4-2. Kudos to the Rockets for getting 2 games, but...
Yeah, the Rockets, I'm sorry, but this core is not good enough. Chris Paul probably has the worst contract in the league compared to John Wall. But yeah, if the Rockets can't close out the Warriors without Durant and at home in Game 6, then yeah, they got to do something because it's clearly not working. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, you know what? They've gotten so many chances over the past few years to take down the Warriors, and they haven't been able to do it. And like you mentioned, you add to the fact that they were on home court for Game 6, and the Warriors without one of the best players on the planet in Kevin Durant. So, sorry, Rockets, but at this point in time, if they don't make any drastic changes, I don't think the Rockets are going to be the ones to take down the Golden State Warriors. But will the Portland Trailblazers be the surprise team to take down the mighty Warriors?
My boy Dame Dalla, I think he's got a
Yeah.
chance. I think he's got a great chance. And shout out to CJ McCollum in Game 7, just dismantling the Nuggets and sending the Blazers into the conference finals for the first time since, was it early 2000s when they played the Lakers?
Yeah, that was the days of Rasheed Wallace on the Blazers, wasn't it? And Scottie Pippen on the Blazers.
The Jailblazers.
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's nice to see kind of an underdog team. You say that the Blazers are certainly the underdogs, and who would have thought that the Portland Trailblazers would take down the mighty Denver Nuggets? So kudos to them for pulling that off.
Especially without Yusuf Nurkic, who is arguably probably their second best player this year.
Very impressive, to say the least. And the Western Conference Finals are shaping up to be exciting, just like on the east side of things. And maybe we'll see a surprise. Maybe the Portland Trailblazers will take down the Golden State Warriors. I just think the Warriors are too strong, and they've shown that year after year. They're just such a powerful team with the crew that they have, and they have just such strong fluidity because they've been playing together for so long now. They've had such success together over the past few years. The Trailblazers they're gonna have to dig deep if they want to take down the Warriors. It would be great to see. And Damian Lillard is a freaking star, just on fire, and it's great to see. Yeah, he is a superstar, and he's a guy that in the past had been overlooked, but he's one of the best players in the league, and he has been for some time now, in my opinion.
I think you could arguably say he's a top 5 player in the league.
He's incredible. He can do so much, and the buzzer beater that he hit earlier in the playoffs, a lot of people are comparing Kawhi's game winner to Lillard's game winner. I personally think Kawhi's is the winner in that battle, but Damian Lillard has shown that he can come in clutch and he could win you a game and he could win you a series. So maybe he's gonna be the one to drive the Trailblazers past the Warriors.
Yeah. It's just the Warriors have that experience of winning it all with this group and without Durant as well. It's just I want to see Damian Lillard in the finals. It would make me so happy. That guy deserves it more than anyone, I feel.
I think it would be absolutely fantastic. And honestly, of course, I'd love to see the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals, but if it's the Bucks versus Trailblazers, that's something that we have not seen ever. I don't think we've ever seen that ever. I don't think that's ever happened. So
that'd be an odd.
Yeah,
it would be like one of those finals like no one predicted at the start of the season.
Exactly, and there'd be no LeBron, there'd be no Golden State Warriors. It'd be something fresh and something different. And that's what I've been saying for so long now, that I want to see something different, and we've got a chance here. And even if the Warriors do make it to the finals, it's going to be something different. Either the Bucks Warriors or the Raptors Warriors. I'm excited. These conference finals are huge.
I feel like this is the one year, if you're going to take out the Warriors, this is that year. Because all 3 other teams remaining have a great chance at doing it.
Exactly. So you got to take that shot, take that opportunity while you can.
For sure.
It's very exciting to see what's in store for the landscape of the NBA once this whole season comes to a close, because there's so many things that can happen during the off season. Will Kawhi Leonard stay in Toronto? What are all the other free agent superstars going to be doing? Where's Anthony Davis going to end up? And speaking of Anthony Davis, was checking out some reports. Of course, tonight it's May 14th. The NBA draft lottery, and I've heard some rumblings around the league that if the New York Knicks get the first overall pick, they might try to trade that pick for Anthony Davis. What are your thoughts on that? And just kind of in general, what are your thoughts on the draft lottery?
I think if you're the Knicks and you get that first pick, I feel you might as well do that trade, because you already know you're getting out of Anthony Davis. You don't know you're getting out of Zion Williamson. he could be a superstar, but we already know that Anthony Davis is. So if you have a chance to get Anthony Davis, then you pull the trigger.
So you're almost saying go with that certainty versus taking that chance at the unknown.
You go with that certainty, but my personal feelings is I hope that the Knicks don't get the first pick, and I hope the Cavs don't get the first pick. I would love to see a team like, I don't know, Atlanta Hawks get the first pick, or the Bulls, or the Heat. What if the Heat got the first pick? They deserve it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just something different from years past is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. What if the Mavericks get the first pick? Doncic, Porzingis, and Zion Williamson? My God.
The future of the league. Well, we shall see what happens and what goes down during the off season. Of course, we're not even at that point yet because we still got the conference and then the NBA finals. So a lot of great basketball on the way. It's very exciting times.
Yeah, it's been one exciting playoffs, that's for sure.
Definitely. Well, Nard Dogg, I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode of Full Court Press. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to check out the Facebook page and YouTube channel for all past episodes of Full Court Press. And if you want to keep the basketball talk going, you can follow me on Twitter at JustinGoulet21. Nard Dogg, where are you at?
You can find me on the Twitter at DavidBernardi7.
Excellent. Well, keep on watching basketball. Keep on enjoying the NBA playoffs. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet.
And I'm the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi.
And we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
You've just been hit with Full Court Press. Courtesy of the men, the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops Goulet.